The new Disney Little Mermaid live action is better than the original. What? You're insane. Something so classic beloved and a new live action that has been doing terribly all these times is better than the original? For this case, yes. And I have my reasons why, and I'll give you my objective opinion comparing the new version to the old version, why I like this new version better. So hear me out before you guys go crazy in the comments because I saw this movie 1 week before general audience have seen it. So my ask is actually hear me out and then watch the new version and then tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong. So before I go into details of performances, things I like, things I don't like, and compare what's better about the new one compared to original, I want to say something. Since I hate to talk about controversy, but I feel like this needs to be said. Race swapping. The story Little Mermaid is about a mermaid who's an Atlantean, who's trying to find her way into the world and then happens to fall in love. There's no ethnic background behind that. Like, for example, Mulan, you can't race swap because Mulan is about China and the whole Eastern culture and that mythology. You can't do that. Same as Princess and the Frog. It's about the New Orleans background, the people and the culture of New Orleans. You can't do that. With Little Mermaid, you can. So, with that being said, I like to have an open mindset of different interpretations of the same story, which, some people do it very well. Some people do it very poorly. There's different interpretation. Like the Disney Pinocchio did a terrible adaptation and they're straight to streaming release. But however, they did very well to Beauty and Beast, a remake. So I like to have objective ideas, and some things can be great, some things can be bad. This happens to be a good version of the remake. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the performances, the things I really liked about this movie. One is the main person, Haley Bailey, playing Ariel. She was fantastic, Ariel. She brought a lot to life the character, and what sold me on her performance is the part where Ariel loses her voice and she can't talk. The actress has to find different ways to emote expression, conveys so many different emotions to try to get the other character to understand what she's saying and what you, the audience, is trying to figure out what she's thinking. She did a great job on that. And the most important to me about The Little Mermaid is that I always enjoyed the songs. They're classic. So let's talk about the most important performance. It's Ariel. Haley Bailey performance as Ariel, since Little Mermaid's mainly a story about Ariel and her growth and her journey. And she did a fantastic job playing as Ariel. I absolutely believe she was Ariel when she was able to sing the most important song for me was Part of Your World, where I was like, oh my gosh, she is the best singer in all this Disney live action remake, hands down, and it's not even a close competition. Because in those live action remakes, I felt those are actors who are trying to sing and did a decent job, but she just blown it out of the water and made it her own, and you just felt the power and motion when you hear her voice hitting you through the speakers, and she did the fantastic job. Because that's what I really care about Little Mermaid. I didn't really care about the story since I felt like it was very simple, but I'll get more into that when I compare the new version to original, is that I just like the songs, Under the Sea, Part of Your World, and the Ursula song and the Sebastian song. So she started won me over with that. On top of that, she was able to convey a lot of emotions when she couldn't speak. When Ariel loses her voice, she has to find ways to tell the audience what's going through her mind, but also convey what she wants to say to the other characters who can't understand what she's saying, and also be able to develop a relationship. And she did that. So she was a fantastic Ariel. Second performance, Melissa McCarthy. Never been a big fan of her at all. I always thought she was a one-dimensional actress where she just always plays an overweight comedian, does comedy. But this one, she actually was able to show me a different acting chops that I never seen before, where she shows a very menacing but also charismatic Ursula, where she has a lot more to do and was able to even hit her song pretty well and convey a lot more to the character. So I really, Melissa McCarthy surprised me. All the other cast was okay. They did a fine job. Nothing that stand out made it very special, but those are the two characters for that really stood out to me, and Eric was more, like I said, everyone else just played an okay role at their job, nothing stand out. So, and the third thing I liked about this movie was that they added a lot more context to this movie, a lot more, not necessarily story, but more development of the characters. You understand why Ariel is so adventurous and the struggles she has to deal with, and why she wants to explore the outside world. You see her dad, the king, why he's so protective of his daughter and forbids her wanting to interact with the human race. You get so much more depth and character of Eric. You finally understand what motivates Eric, why him and Ariel fit so much better as a couple. Because I don't want to compare animated, but you actually understand who Eric is. You actually really cared more about the character than him just being a generic prince that the princess fell for, right? So you have that. You have more of the outside world. You have this moment where Ariel becomes a fish out of the water, and she's actually trying to understand the human world, the land world, for the very first time, and it brought more life to it. And it shows how Eric and Ariel fell for each other, where it makes more sense, where it's not like automatic. So you get that, and you get why Eric has his own problems with his mom, where Ariel had her own problems with her dad, and why these characters really connect so well. Now, let's talk. So those are the main things I really liked about the movie. Let's talk about the things I didn't like. One thing I didn't like was the issue with animated animation on live creatures. So they had Sebastian as a crab, but he looks a little bit more cartoonish, similar to animated versions. So he was a lot more cartoony, which made him feel more real to me. Where they had Flounder as a straight up fish, like Lion King. You had these real life looking lions, and they're just speaking out of their mouth. Now you just have this flat fish that's speaking like a kid to you. Where Flounder in the animation was a bigger yellow fish that was bright, more vibrant. Flounder was so different, Sebastian. So when they're in a scene, one more cartoony looking crab versus a straight up photorealistic fish, it was so odd and jarring. So I never really connected to Flounder. Another thing I didn't like was not all the new content they added to Little Mermaid was good. Most of it was good. Some of it didn't work. They added several new songs, and I don't know those new songs are good because when they first play it, you're like, do I like this? All these scenes are happening. I need to rewatch it and actually listen to lyrics a couple of times before if I know if it's good or bad. So that's where I'm on the unsure range, and it will take the general audience to know if, hey, this song is a hit or this song is not a hit. For me, one song particularly did not work out is the one where they had Aquafina rapping with Sebastian. And I understand they tried to make the music and things different, adding more flavor to the movie, but for me it was just jarring where it's like, I feel like it doesn't fit with this. It's just an extra added length of time that wasn't necessary. A third thing. Now this is a slight spoiler, so I'll leave my hand up here if you don't want to know anything, but I'll take it down when you see my hand go down like this. I'm not talking about spoiler anymore, but it's a very small one. It's up to you. It's about a song that they removed and didn't remake. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what that song was. So here it is. So they removed the song where there's a chef tries to cook Sebastian and make him a meal in the animated series. That's not there in this live adaptation remake. So it's up to you how important that scene was there for you. For me, I thought it was a nice, lighthearted thing that made sense in animation. But if you brought it to real life, it would be kind of scary seeing all these dead fish, all these sea creatures that you fell in love with from the movie on a platter, which just could be horrifying because it's realistic, where that one's more animation. So I'm saying it wasn't a big deal for me. I thought they added more good than what they took away. And if you really like that Sebastian song where he's about to get cooked, you can always rewatch, listen to that soundtrack. Okay, so that's the one thing, one song that they removed that couldn't be an issue, wasn't too big issue for me. So overall, those are my main criticisms of the movie. The rest of it was awesome. Now, why do I like this version better than the original? The original was fine for what it is. It's a little bit outdated and no longer really makes sense, and it felt like it was always a short story for me. I never connected to Little Mermaid, the animated classic. I just only liked the songs, where I felt it was rushed. Like as soon as Ariel gets to land, Eric fell head over heels, like, "Oh, I really like you. Let's go on dates. Let's go kiss the girl. Let's do this." And as soon as Ursula shows up with her song, Eric immediately falls for her. He gets enchanted and forgets and tosses Ariel aside just like that. And he had no character. He was just generic. And I understand the story was about Ariel, but Eric was just a generic throwaway of that. Where this movie, you actually understood Eric and who he is and why he and Ariel just make so much more sense together, and why he fell for her and she fell for him. And and where Ursula shows up, he actually has to wrestle between liking a girl that he just met and that he's falling for, and she can't speak, and then someone that he's been looking for to save his life, and that internal wrestle where he actually has personality to him. You get this reconcile of the king coming to understand, it's time to let Ariel be free, and you have that moment of dad reconcile with his daughter, and they actually have appreciation of each other, and you have Eric, the son, really reconcile with his mom, and their appreciation of each other, and where both families says, okay, we understand our kids to to be free and let them be themselves, but we'll always be there to support them. And it just makes the whole movie makes more narrative sense, more it flows better. So that's why this movie made me actually like the Little Mermaid story that I felt the animation was lacking. But I like both versions. I think the animated is fine. I like the songs. I think this live action is a lot better. So if I had to rate all of this, I would say this new live action is on the higher tiers on Beauty and Beast. I like Beauty and Beast the best. Cinderella's up there because they added a lot to it. And then you had Aladdin right below it. So this is right below, right next to Beauty and Beast, Cinderella, and then Aladdin's right below it. And Lion King's where Aladdin is, and then you get the bad ones like, ugh. Like, was it Mulan's down there? Pinocchio's down there. Peter Pan's down there. You got, yeah. So this is one of the better ones. So this is 8 out of 10, which I thought it's very decent. I thought a good time. But all I ask is you don't go into the movie wanting to hate it. Go into the movie with an open mind. It's like, okay, I want to see Halle Bailey's performance as Ariel. I want to see all these different changes that they make and see if it works for you. Let me know if it does. Let me know if it doesn't. But it was a good time. So I didn't mind going and seeing it. All right. See you guys next time. Bye.